I highlight the text and I want to make it italics. What's the keyboard shortcut for that?
It should be Control I.
So let me try it out. Oh, my Mac keyboard is something messed up. Yes, Control I anyway. What if I want it to be bold?
Control B.
Underline?
Control.
Good. Otherwise, you can just go over to the menu on here, and then you've got the editing group there, and you can just press either bold, italics, or underline there to make the change. And of course, you've got strike through and other things. So because I've got some stuff in the background not very clear, let me just undo this with Control Z, back to the original, and then we go to any area that we are typing some context. Let me see, we've just got some learning on objectives, things we have covered, introduction, backstage view, themes, blah, blah, blah. Let's try to start dealing with the editing test, right? So I'm just typing some contents on there, okay? And you notice that each time I type, it gives me a bullet point to work with. Let's say this is also something else or something, not something. Right. And if I write 2nd of May, it does the auto indentation for me. So it makes life a little bit, not auto indentation in terms of makes it superscript for me, makes life a little bit easy for me in this particular case. What if I have maybe 22 and I'm trying to do 2 to the power 2? One way of making the 2 superscript, I can, of course, let me press Shift and then the left in this particular case to highlight the 2. I right click it and I will click maybe should see font somewhere. So I see fonts there. I click the font and I can click superscript on there. So it becomes superscript for me. Alternatively, I'm just going to put more on the same line. So we can play with them differently. Alternatively, I can go to the same font. And well, if you want double strike through and other things, you can have it as well. Or maybe I can just make it like subscript. Then it goes to the bottom on there. So like, let's say to the base or something like that. If I highlight this something and I go to the font, I can change it to all caps, automatically change to all caps for me. Let me make that bold. Actually, let me highlight that one. So it becomes easy for you to see where we've made the changes, right? And also, maybe I can just click this something. Actually, let me click the whole thing. And then I'll just click highlight. I do apologize. I keep saying click. So I just go to fonts and I just want some like a small caps for all of them. Not very good option, but let's go for it. Then we have like these caps, all right, but it's small caps for each of this. So it's sort of auto formatting things that makes life a lot easy for ourselves. So what I'm going to do at this point, if I can find where my, yep, I'm just going to pause here a little bit, give you a bit of chance to play with the editing before I continue. So I'll pause my recording here. Resuming record. Yes, we notice we've got other options. We've got a bold, italics, we've got underline. One of my very favorite, I just press the Control Shift and then greater than, it becomes big, or Control Shift less than. If you're using a Mac user, it's Command Shift greater than or less than, right? To make it increase or decrease the font size. Of course, you can strike through something. And the same in my case, I've got superscript there. You've got subscript also here. It's just these ones I'm playing with. And let's say if we want to increase the spacing between the text, we've got something there. We have loose. We've got there. We've got maybe very tight, which looks horrible. And then I think there was a normal. So I'll stick with normal, right? And of course, if you don't like what is there, you can go to more spacing and then you can adjust things over there, right? A bit more, just playing with the options I've got on here. You've got everything to lowercase. Let's toggle the case for this one. Don't think this will help better. Let's go with the original one, the one before. Change to upper, that works a lot better, right? And let's change to lower. Again, we notice that it's going to lowercase, so you don't have to retype it when you make a mistake in typing something. Let's change it to a sentence case. Look at the first letter here, which is small t. So if we change sentence case, it's corrected. It's the first letter is the big T on there. So that works really well. Or we can just even toggle the case, but in this case, we've got only one that. So you notice what was caps before has become small, and everything else that was small before has become caps. So let's toggle this particular case again to bring it back. Pause. We've already used the highlights, the font color, and other things there. If you want to increase the font size, I've already shown you the keyboard shortcut as well. And of course, if you want to clear formatting, you can clear the formatting. So let me do something. I'm going to duplicate this slide. I'll just drag this to make it larger. So what I do is I hover my mouse pointer and it goes in between the thumbnails and then my working area, and I drag it when it changes to this particular image. So it's a bit clear, then we can see it. If I right click this, you see for duplicate, I've got my shift command and then D. So let me try. I'll select the file, the slide I want, and I'll pull down shift, press command and press D, and it's duplicated the slide for me. So that's how we duplicate slide. I just want to go on here, select all of them. And again, another way of selecting all can be keyboard shortcut, Command A or Control A, right? So in here, let me toggle the case, maybe to sentence case to make it a bit more reasonable. We don't necessarily need the after anyway. I don't think I need these ones. I just want some text there. So I think PowerPoint is awesome. Okay. At the moment, I don't really like the way this is coming up as caps, but let's say I really like the formatting of this particular text on here. I'll just highlight it and I'll go up to my top left corner. Do you see this little icon? It looks like a paintbrush. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Follow my cursor to there. So we have the format painter. So I'll click the format painter and that will just copy the format of this particular text on here for me. And I'll just highlight the new one that I want the format over. So you notice that automatically it changes it for me. It may not necessarily be clear. So let's change the color of the text we are using to maybe blue. Again, we try, let's also change the font altogether to something, I don't know, fancy or interesting. That seems all right. So we select it again, format painter, and then we highlight the new one, and we notice that it's pick the format across. So again, I will pause here a little bit recording. This is just for those who've got the design ideas enabled and other things. I don't think I even have it enabled on here at some point. Let me see, let me get rid of this comment then. Yeah, in order for me to get the design enabled, I just need to reset, but just ignore it. Right, so let's see, if I go to design, I'll click designer. And it will just give me some suggestions, just simply because it's a bit boring at the moment. I've only got this. I'm just going to select some of them, but you know, you don't have to worry too much at this by this at the moment, because we're going to insert images and other things. So I'm just doing some fun, whatever fancy suggestion that is giving me. But we've already got our own content on there. Before I change this, I would duplicate it first. So I'll just do Command Shift D on my slide to duplicate, and then I'll just change this to maybe something like that, just because we're getting somewhere. Now I'll come back to my slide, and we want to look at like bullet points or something like that, or working with lists and those kind of things. So we do have bullet points auto inserted for us. They seem to be all over the place at the moment. Let's go back to our home button, and then you see the bullet points. You also see, I don't know whether I can make it, nope, I can make it larger, but hopefully you can see what I've got up here. So we've been working our way from this point going downwards. We know about cut, we know the format, we know the new slides, we know changing different layouts. We didn't include sessions, but you can include sections, which is like a group of slides. Like if you have chapters in your presentation, for example, let's say we can include a session here, and then we add like a session, so we can actually name it, and then we can move it up and down. We'll add more. Let me call this intro to PowerPoint, for example. We'll add more anyway. So back here, so I'll go to my home, select that, and we've got bullet points, we've got the numbers and things we want to play with. So let's play with bullet points first. Let's change the bullet points. At the moment, it's all circle. Let's change it to these sort of arrows, for example. Okay, that's one way of playing with it. Let me create a really big mess, do different ones. So let's see, we've got that, we've got the correct Nike kind of tick. We've got that also. Let me duplicate this. Change the font just to match it, and or just to show differentiate something, we can say. And we can use that. Okay, more, let's add more. Again, I'll change the font so that it becomes something that is not in the way too much. Can I change all this font to Calibri? I think it's a lot better. Something visible that we can all see, right? And I'll change this to maybe that, but let's go with a bit more, right? So on here, I just simply went back to the bullet point options. Yours may just be more or something, but my case is bullet points and numbers. It's like additional feature, so you get extended view of things. You can use the numbers, but we'll come back to numbers in a minute, okay? So I want to select pictures, so I'll just click the pictures, and I'll go to my desktop. I don't know, I downloaded some interesting pictures of myself or something. Don't even know what else is there, but some things that maybe not these ones. I thought I had some pictures on there that can be used, but anyway, this can be used. So what's that? That one's used. So let's insert this. I should have inserted vector picture. So yes, basically you can insert pictures as bullet points, for example. So if I press enter, you notice that it has automatically inserted my picture again.
I feel like nobody's actually listening in this class.
No.
That's bullet. So hopefully you followed up to this point, and all I've done in these stages is different bullet points. We reverted the font back to original, and we've managed to insert pictures. So if, let's say, it was something about global warming or something like that, you can find a nice picture on global warming and insert it as a bullet point, for example. So I'll pause here, give you the chance to find stuff and also go over things yourself as well. But before I do that, let me just duplicate this again, which is Command Shift D, duplicate, and I'm just going to change all of these to enumeration as well, which is the numbered one. So it becomes numbers for me. Of course, if I want this to be a sub, I can just press tab and it becomes a sub. If that was meant to be a sub to just press tab and it changes, but I'll just keep them as they are. And if you press tab and you want to change the way it's being ordered instead of form one to something else, then you can change it to something else. So it becomes like an A, right? So these are the two things that I've gone over at the moment. I'll just pause the recording here